Ever since moving to the edge of the vast Greenway forest, I had spent countless evenings staring out my window, my gaze wandering over the undulating canopy of trees stretching toward the horizon. The wilderness was just a stone's throw away, yet it remained unexplored territory for me, a city dweller whose closest encounter with nature was the park 2 blocks from my old apartment. But the forest had always beckoned, a silent siren call that I found increasingly difficult to ignore. So, on a whim fueled by restless longing, I decided to dive into the unknown. I purchased basic camping gear, a tent, some packaged food, and hiking supplies. The plan was simple: a weekend getaway, just me in the wilderness. I wanted to start small, nothing too ambitious. Just a night under the stars, to get a taste of the fabled tranquility that nature offered. Saturday morning arrived, draped in a brilliant azure sky, the sun casting a warm golden glow as I set off on my adventure. The forest welcomed me with open arms, the air fresh and laden with the scent of pine and earth. I hiked through scenic trails, each turn revealing breathtaking views of sprawling landscapes that vibrated with an almost palpable sense of life. By late afternoon, I found a picturesque spot in a small clearing and set up camp. The routine of pitching a tent, preparing a makeshift meal on a portable stove, provided a sense of comfort and normalcy in the otherwise unfamiliar setting. As dusk painted the sky in hues of orange and purple, I sat back, contented, embracing the peace that blanketed the forest as it prepared for nightfall. When I crawled into my tent later that evening, fatigue wrapped around me like a thick blanket, pulling me into a deep sleep. Several hours later, the forest was draped in near-total darkness. It was then that something woke me up, very suddenly. I didn't feel groggy or wake up slowly, like I would in my own bed on a weekend. No. On this night, my eyes snapped open, heart thudding in my chest as an inexplicable fear coursed through my veins. I lay there for what felt like several minutes, straining to hear something, anything, trying to discover who or what had awakened me and why I felt an inexplicable desire to run and hide. And then I heard it. Someone or something took a step just outside my tent, mere feet from where I was laying. A moment later, I heard another step, followed by another and another. The soft footsteps padded in a circle around the tent, deliberate and unhurried. My mind raced. Was it a bear? Or was it something else? As I listened, I recognized the sounds were being made by a person. But what would someone be doing out here in the wilderness in the middle of the night? So many miles from civilization, alone and in near complete darkness. It dawned on me then that I didn't have a firearm, or even a hunting knife with which to protect myself. A chilling wave of vulnerability washed over me as I realized I was completely alone and defenseless. In the city, I was never truly alone. Neighbors, police, the ceaseless hum of urban life always within reach. But here, my isolation was palpable, and the realization that I was at the mercy of the unknown tightened my chest with anxiety. The footsteps continued, the rhythmic, sickening crunching the only sound in the stillness, circling the tent, until they halted ominously at the entrance. My heart raced as I noticed the zipper begin to slowly inch open, the sound excruciatingly loud in the silence. The flap peeled back to reveal the night, and in the faint moonlight, the figure of a grizzled man materialized. His beard unkempt, his clothes tattered, and his eyes, those haunting eyes, bore into mine with an intensity that rooted me to the spot. Time seemed to stretch into eternity as we stared at each other, the world holding its breath around us. I started visualizing what I'd do if this man were to attack me. I was still zipped up in my sleeping bag. Honestly, if he wanted to harm me, I wouldn't be able to raise my arms or legs to defend or hit back. My sense of helplessness got worse. What did this man want? Where did he come from? Why me? Then, as abruptly as he appeared, the man stood, turned, and slowly walked out of view into the darkness of the woods without a word, leaving behind a trail of unnerving calm. No longer paralyzed by fear, I scrambled to the tent opening, my eyes searching the shadows for any sign of the mysterious visitor. I saw a hint of movement off to one side and watched as the man casually walked back into the woods until he disappeared completely, swallowed by the night as if he were nothing more than a figment of my imagination. Shaken to my core, I immediately packed up my gear with trembling hands. The forest around me no longer a fun adventure, but instead a vast, threatening unknown. As I hiked back to civilization, the first rays of dawn did little to warm the chill that had settled deep in my bones. The experience left me with a profound realization. In the wilderness, we are but fragile intruders, our sense of security as tenuous as the shifting shadows. The forest, with its timeless cycles and untamed beauty, does not bend to our expectations or fears. Back in the safety of my home, the encounter lingered in my mind, a stark reminder of our inherent vulnerability when stripped of our constructed safeties. It challenged my romantic notion of the wilderness as a serene escape, and instead revealed its raw, untamed nature. For those who seek the solitude of the wild, it is a powerful, beautiful, but also humbling experience. Spending time in the wild teaches us to respect the forces of nature, both seen and unseen. And in my case, it serves as a reminder that even in the vastness of the wild, we are never truly alone.